Hello and welcome back to Radio Reviews Revived. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Eton's most popular weather radio, probably, and that is the Eton Zoneguard. So let's take a look. Alright, the Eton Zoneguard. Let's take a look at it. So, here's the front of the radio, which looks, alright. I've seen better fronts for weather radios, but it's okay. It's got its own unique design, I guess you could say. Of course, when you first power on the radio, it'll show the time, and then the menu button for the menu, arrow buttons, the power button, alert on-off button, your alarm, and the snooze button, your presets. There's 6 presets for AM/FM stations. The light beacon, which is pretty cool. This is also a radio that is, I guess, sponsored by American Red Cross, but this light beacon will light up when it gets an alert, which is pretty nice. And then here on the back, you've got this little stand that comes with the radio, which I have attached. Your DC port, which is 5 volts, and the battery backing, which takes 3 AA batteries. And then your antenna, which, it's not the best antenna. It's kind of loose. I could probably tighten it, but they typically, I think, come this way. And also, some of the Zoneguard antennas are not like mine. Mine is a telescoping one, but not all Zoneguard antennas are telescoping. Some are, some aren't. So just keep that in mind if you're big about that. Also on the sides here, we have some more buttons. There's the memory, the AM/FM, the weather band, and weather band alert. You have to turn on the radio and then hit the weather band alert button to put it on standby mode for alerts. And then here on the right, you've got the volume up and down buttons. So, a pretty simple design, not the worst design I've seen. Though I will be honest, I feel like our weather radios that you need to turn on before putting on alert standby are a little bit annoying in my opinion. Also, one little thing about the firmware that's annoying is that if you put the alert on voice and if it powers off for any which reason, it'll immediately by default go back to siren. So you're gonna have to manually switch it back to voice if the radio shuts off in any which way, if the power went out or something. So that's a bit annoying. But anyways, we're gonna move on to the first feature. There's no button beeps or siren tests, so we're gonna move on straight to reception. Alright, the reception on the Eton Zoneguard. So, turn the radio on here.
Friday night, north winds 10 to 20 knots, increasing to 20 to 30 knots.
Probably not going to get any other stations because of the area that I'm in. I'm in an area where I can only really get one weather channel, so I don't really have the best way of testing the reception, but I can assure you that it's okay. It's not the best reception. There are radios with much better the reception than the Zoneguard, but it's at least somewhat above average. It's not like terrible reception. It will pick up your local station, but it's not something I would, DX with or try to get a station that's like 40, 50 miles away with. So we're gonna move on to the next feature, which is the speaker quality. Okay, the speaker quality on the Zoneguard, so let's take a listen here to the speaker.
2.400 megahertz will be off the air starting at 7 a.m. on Wednesday,
that's max
January
volume.
21st, 2026 through midnight on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. We apologize for any inconvenience.
The speaker does not get the loudest. It doesn't get, really loud like most other speakers would, but the speaker quality itself is decent. There's better speakers, I think, than it. But it's good enough. It doesn't sound horrible. It's not a speaker, obviously, that you go and say, this doesn't sound very good. It sounds good enough for what it is. So the speaker quality on this is good. So now we're going to move on to the next feature, which is the DeFat siren, technically the alert blocking. Okay, the alert blocking on the Zoneguard, and here's why I do not give it a good rank. So, you would think having alert blocking, and honestly having, SAME codes and all that in general, would be great for a SAME radio like this, and it is, actually. As you can see, you can obviously enable and disable alerts you don't want to hear. For example, say you don't want to hear the required weekly test every week. All you have to do is hit the right arrow, and it will disable the alert. When it says disable, and then if you hit it again, it'll say enable. I keep it enabled. Now, that's cool and all, that's good. But here's where it all falls apart. The Eton Zoneguard and all of the other Eton radios like the Zoneguard that have SAME, this includes radios like the Zoneguard Plus, the Eton SolarLink radios, the FR800 over there, all those other Eton SAME weather radios. Even though it has alert blocking, the Eton Zoneguard has 1050 Hz activation, which means that even if there's an alert for a county that you did not select in the SAME codes, or an alert that you disabled in the alert blocking menu, you'll still receive it anyway, because when it gets a 1050 signal, it will start going off and scrolling NWR activation and turn on the broadcast. So that basically means that no matter what you do with the SAME codes or whatnot, it is still going to give you those alerts anyway, because it has 1050 Hz activation. Which is why the SAME capabilities on this radio, while obviously nice to have, are pretty much useless. So if you want a SAME weather radio, you're not going to want to get the Zoneguard because of that reason, because it's going to go off for everything no matter how you change the SAME settings. So that's why the alert blocking is not good on the radio. Not because alert blocking itself isn't a good thing, it is a good thing, but it's on a radio that's completely useless. So that's the reason why. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next feature, and that is the AM/FM capabilities. Okay, the AM/FM capabilities on the Zoneguard, so let's go and turn it on, hit the AM/FM button right here, and let's not go to a song that's going to get us copyrighted. They are playing System of a Down, which is great music, but it's going to get us copyrighted, so we're going to move down the band here to a non-copyright station. I will say the speaker gets louder on FM by a lot. Go to the AM band.
Pretty young player early on in their career.
When you think about these last 2 years, and obviously Elite 8 Final 4, you guys are sitting at 17-1, so somebody...
AM band is not the best on this radio, if you're gonna DX with it, but it'll get your locals. The FM is way better than the AM.
Chance of rain 40%.
So that was the AM/FM capabilities on the Eton Zoneguard. So now, with all of the features being now gone over, let's get into the final thoughts on the Eton Zoneguard. So my final thoughts on the Eton Zoneguard, well, it is a decent weather radio by itself. It's not the worst in the world, but when it comes to SAME, it's practically useless because of the 1050 Hz activation. So if you're a normal consumer and want a SAME weather radio, I'd recommend you not get the Eton Zoneguard unless you're a fanatic that wants to hear every single alert in your area. Then you can get a Zoneguard for sure, yeah. And it does have some nice versatility. You can mount it to a wall. It does have wall mounts. It obviously has the stand to sit it up like how I have it right now. It's a versatile weather radio for being, pretty much a desktop. But, just with the 1050 stuff, there's 1050 radios out there. And I'm not going to discredit them, though, because they are specifically 1050 as that's how they were designed. This was designed as a SAME radio, yet the SAME is useless, and so it becomes something that it's not, because you're wanting to get it for the SAME, and you're going to be disappointed when the alerts come by. So, for that reason, the Eton Zoneguard gets a big downgrade in how I view it as a weather radio itself for normal consumers. So thank you guys for watching this episode of Radio Reviews Revived. I'm Carolina Elevators and EIS, and thank you guys for watching Radio Reviews Revived. Peace.